everyone, today I'll show you how to work on that other 50% of your drone videos, editing and designing sound. I'll show you the main aspects of sound design and sound mixing on a few examples, but it's up to you to be creative for your own shots. I'm also giving away a few sound clips of the Mavic 2 Pro I recorded myself for free. I have some clips of Mavic taking off, flybys and a few others. The link to download is in the description. The first thing you gotta know are the audio levels. In every editing software there's an audio level indicator which tells you how loud your audio is. It ranges from 0 decibels, which is where the sound will clip, and it goes negative as the sound gets quieter. These are the general ranges you should be going for when mixing your audio for the web. Now let's jump onto the computer and get our sounds. So right here I've assembled a few shots I've taken over the last months to sort of create a few scenes like you might have in your own project. We have this church on the lake in Slovenia, followed by a shot of the mountains. Then we have a jet ski gliding across the sea and approaching the shore. And finally we have a shot of this bridge from my advanced color grading tutorial, followed by a shot of the highway on a completely different location. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we will imagine it's all part of the same scene. So the first thing we'll do is go on freesound.org, a website full of free sound effects uploaded by the community, and we'll search for our sounds. The thing I like to do is I always like to think of a single sound which will be my main sound, almost like a dialogue track, and then I think about everything I see in my shot and everything I remember from the location I was filming on, and I try to find additional sounds to expand my scene. For our first scene with the church and the mountain, I want my main sound to be a church bell, so I firstly search for a nice church bell sound. Next I wanted to fill my scene up a bit. So I searched for a sound of birds in woods and mountains, then I downloaded a sound of waves on the shore and some wind blowing. As for the jet ski scene, it was a bit tricky as there was only one sound of a jet ski on the website. But to really design the sound right, I wanted to have more control and more sources, so I thought about what makes a similar sound, which led me to download the sound of a scooter engine, which when you think about it sounds really similar to a jet ski. I was also pretty lucky and I found the sound of waves hitting a boat, exactly what I needed. And finally, I downloaded a sound of seagulls screeching to really sell the effect of the sea. The final scene was the easiest to find sounds for. There were a lot of sounds of cars passing by on the highway, but I did a bit extra and found the sound of a sports car accelerating. Then I imported all my sounds in Premiere and started layering them up. I firstly put my church bell sound on the first audio layer, and I have applied the default transition to gradually increase the loudness of the audio clip. You can do this by pressing Shift D or by right-clicking on the beginning or an end of a clip and selecting default transition. I have then added the water splashing effect, applied the default transition and started to arrange the clips a bit better to my liking. The next thing I did was I keyframed the loudness and gain of the audio. With keyframes we can control how loud the audio track will be at a certain point of time, and the audio will gradually get louder or quieter as it goes between keyframes. To apply a keyframe, scroll with your mouse on the empty space of the audio track to expand the controls. Place your playhead on the spot where you want your keyframe to be and click to add a keyframe. Then go a bit further in time and add a second keyframe. What I did here was, I created 2 keyframes where my cut to the next shot is, and I lowered the audio a bit. I've then added a new keyframe near the end of the clip and lowered the audio even more. That way, we really sort of established that these 2 shots are in the same location and belong to the same scene. The way we did it implies that the church from the first shot is somewhere near these mountains, a really nifty trick to improve your films for your viewers. I have then added the birds chirping sound effect. What I did here was, I soloed the layer and lowered the overall gain by looking at the audio meter. It's not the point that the viewer can focus on every single sound and take it apart from the rest. When designing sound, we layer many sound effects to create a full audio experience for the viewer. Then I layered other sound effects and adjusted their levels. As you might have noticed, I'm really rushing through this to get the important information out there as fast as possible. I will not cover the things I already explained. I'm really trying to get out as much as useful information as I can in the shortest time possible. Here I'm just refining the gain of the audio layers, and I'm adding a wind layer and again adjusting it to barely be heard. And finally, we will add a reverb sound effect to the church bell clip. Do this by going into the Effects tab and search for reverb. This will add a nice echo to our sound, and it will really make the viewer feel like he's in the valley where the church is. I would suggest adding reverb to all your clips to make them sound more realistic, but for the purposes of this tutorial I just wanted to show you what could be done, and I didn't want to repeat myself too much. As well as the fact that some clips you download might already have lots of reverb. And here is the final result of the first sequence. Moving on to the jet ski scene. We firstly have a mono sound clip, meaning the sound is only in one channel. We can leave it like that and it will play just fine in stereo, but in the last scene I'll show you why you might want to modify the properties of the audio clip and make it stereo like I'm doing it right now. Again, doing the same thing like before, but right here I don't really have a powerful engine sound at the end of my audio sample, so I'm layering another engine sound at the end of it, when the camera and the viewer's eyes are the closest, sort of say. Then layering the seagull sound clip and the clip of waves hitting a boat. And for the final touch I added sound sample from the beach and I slowly made it louder as we approach the shore with each shot. And for the final touch I added some wind sounds from the previous scene. And here's the final sound assembly. Moving on to the final scene, we're starting off like before. My first layer is the ambience highway sound of cars passing by, and then I'm adding some seagulls from the jet ski scene, since this shot is also taking place at sea, so it'll be a nice addition to the overall feel of the scene. Adding another layer of wind just like before, as well as the waves hitting the shore from the very first scene with the church. And starting to adjust the gains a bit. Again, use the layer soloing as well as look at the levels. For background sound effects I always aim for -20 to -30 decibels. Now I'm adding the sound effect of the sports car speeding up. This will be our main sound effect for this scene, so we will really emphasize on it. And I'm finally adding some birds chirping to the second shot of the scene and creating another copy of the highway sound as the main sports car sound fades away. A quick and easy way to copy clips is by holding Alt on your keyboard and clicking and dragging the clip to duplicate it. Here is what the layout sounds like so far. And for the final touches we will emphasize on the sports car by firstly upping the gain so that it goes to that -6 decibels. And then we will create an effect of the sound going from one ear to the other, again to bring the viewer inside our film. That's why it's important to know how to convert your sound clips to stereo in case they are recorded in mono, like I showed you in the previous scene. We will begin by right-clicking on the clip and selecting Show Clip Keyframes, Banner and Balance. Then we will set our playhead on the beginning of the clip and create a keyframe. If we put one keyframe on the top and the other on the bottom, the sound will flow from one ear to the other, in this case from left to right. But since the car is entering the shot from the right of the screen, we will switch the keyframes and it will sound much more believable. And for the final touch, we will equalize the clip a bit. In the effects panel, search and apply the parametric equalizer. We will firstly lower the higher frequencies to get rid of the noise, and then we will up the bass a bit to make the car sound more powerful. Similar to reverb, you should really equalize all of your clips if you want that full control. Make sure not to overdo equalization because your sound might start clipping. And again, for the full effect, I'm finishing off with some reverb. And here is the final result. And that's about it. Very easy thing to do, but it makes your video much more professional looking. Or sounding. Once again, the link to download the free sounds is down in the description. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash like and smash subscribe. Thanks for watching and goodbye.